Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we take your sources and unpack the most fascinating insights. Today, we're opening up the world of Dick Francis, specifically diving into the book Decider, using the excerpts you've shared with us.
And these sources, well, they give us such a rich picture. It's this blend of horse racing, which you expect from Francis, but with this really tangled family drama and some pretty dark crime elements, too. We've got bits covering key character interactions, pivotal plot moments, and even these crucial glimpses into the narrator's head, Lee Morris.
Exactly. It feels like getting Francis's signature style, but, right from the inside, through the character's own experiences and what drives them. Our mission here is to use these excerpts to pull out not just what happens, but to really get at the underlying dynamics. What's driving this central conflict? Who are these people?
Think of it as getting the essence of the story. We're peeling back the layers Francis gives us to see the forces actually shaping events, using the source material itself for this deep dive.
Okay, so let's dive in. Where does it all kick off in these excerpts? It seems to center around Stratton Park Racecourse, and right away, it's described as dying on its feet.
Yeah, it's clearly a place that needs change desperately. But it's also just full of resistance. You meet people like Roger Gardner, who's obviously frustrated with this old-fashioned architect, and Oliver Wells, the clerk of the course. He seems to be just battling to keep things going.
And the core issue, the thing paralyzing everything, seems to be this conflict among the Stratton family shareholders.
Absolutely. The sources make that crystal clear. It's a fundamental split. You've got one group wanting to sell the land off, maybe for industrial development near Swindon,
Right.
and then the others who desperately want to rebuild the stands, modernize the whole operation.
And it's framed as this almost existential fear, isn't it? Making the wrong stands could bankrupt the whole place.
Exactly. That hangs over everything.
And what a family at the heart of it. You've got Mrs. Bincham, Marjorie, the matriarch. The sources, well, they don't mince words. Dominant, manipulative,
Yeah.
someone who can wear down any opposition.
Mm-hmm. Seems totally convinced she's always right. And she holds real practical power, too, like being the only one authorized to pay salaries.
That becomes crucial later, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely. Then there's the official head, Conrad Stratton, Lord Stratton, inherited the most shares after his father died. But he feels this immense pressure, especially from Marjorie, and the sources hint. He's got secrets, makes him vulnerable.
And his twin, Keith? Wow, a stark contrast.
Yeah, Keith is disturbing, described as violent, the only Stratton short of money, desperate for cash. We get these chilling details like him having broken her arm or punched out 2 of her front teeth. His past violence is right there.
He wants to sell the land fast, but knows nothing about business. You can almost feel his desperation.
Palpable. Then there's Ivan, the other brother, runs a garden center with ghastly gnomes, that classic Francis touch.
Huh. Right. And his thing is just indecision. Wait and see.
Pretty much. You also have Dart Stratton, Conrad's son, bit mischievous, owns shares, sometimes drives Lee around. Interesting that he gets suspected by the police later. Shows how wide the net gets cast in this family.
And Dart's sister, Rebecca, she's a jockey.
And she embodies that impatience for change. She wants new stands, of course, modern, glass-walled, new everything. Wants to run the place herself like her grandfather did.
So ambition there.
Yeah.
And Hannah Stratton, Keith's daughter.
Yeah, she's a shareholder too, but she's worried her father will just blow any money if they sell the land.
So you get all these clashing personalities, these different desires, all spilling out at the shareholders meeting.
The tension is thick in those descriptions. Keith's aggressive, demanding.
And Marjorie just tries to steamroll him, telling people to ignore him.
Right. Then Dart's making mischief. Rebecca's clearly fed up with the fuddy-duddy management.
Keith pushes to sell, which reveals his motive, but also Hannah's reason for wanting to keep things going.
And Ivan just sits on the fence.
They elect directors Marjorie, Conrad, Keith, Ivan. Conrad's made chairman.
But it solves nothing, fundamentally. They all know something needs to change, but they are totally deadlocked on what or how. They're bound together by these shares and this real fear of anyone making a unilateral move.
And just to add pressure, there's the detail that Roger and Oliver, the guys actually running the place, haven't been paid since the old lord died.
Yeah, only Marjorie can release the funds, so there's real financial strain on the operation itself, layered on top of the family mess.
Okay, so into this simmering pot,
Yeah.
steps Lee Morris, our narrator.
Yes, the classic Francis setup, often. A competent professional, maybe a bit of an outsider, gets pulled in, often reluctantly.
He's a builder, but also a qualified architect, though he keeps that quiet initially.
And he has a stake, too. 8 shares inherited from his mother, Madeline.
Roger and Oliver see him as their last hope. They think because he's physically big, he can somehow knock some sense into them.
Which Lee finds kind of amusingly simplistic, doesn't he?
Yeah. He wasn't even expected at that big shareholders meeting, but goes because he feels he has a legal right. He needs to figure out what's going on.
And his personal life provides such a contrast to the Strattons. It's really unique.
Living in a bus.
With 6 sons?
Yep. Christopher, Toby, Edward, Alan, Neil, and Jamie. And the description of the bus interior, like a yacht. He built it himself, with help from a yacht designer. Speaks volumes about him.
Resourceful. And his relationship with his wife, Amanda.
It's described as a tolerant standoff. They're staying together for the boys after a rocky past her, wanting babies, money struggles, a near split. Jamie's birth was like a fresh start that didn't quite take.
And money's tight for them, too. His house is a big issue, isn't it? Half my working capital lay cemented into its walls.
Exactly. And he's promised the boys, like, the 20th time they'll keep that house. Big promise.
The sons sound like real characters, too.
They really add warmth. Neil's the quiet one, but soaks up words torpid stumblebum later on.
Where does he get that? Just picks it up. Edward's imaginative, worries a bit. Alan's outgoing. Toby's very matter-of-fact, almost blunt sometimes. Christopher is sort of self-contained, observant.
And Toby and Edward get upset about the injured spectators later. Shows their sensitive side.
Definitely. And this all feeds into Lee's unique perspective, this idea of the decider. It's crucial.
Right. His fascination with why people choose things, especially homes.
Yeah, he spent years asking people. Found it wasn't always logic. It was small things, bits of trellis, hidden winding secondary staircases, Cotswold stone fireplaces, things that make people hunger for a place.
So he looks beyond the surface, understands decisions aren't always rational.
Exactly. Gives him a different lens. And that lens is about to get seriously tested.
Because race day at Stratton Park goes wrong. Fast.
Very fast. Lee takes the boys. Neil's initially shy. Edward's asking questions. Neil's absorbing vocabulary.
Then the accident at the open ditch.
Yeah, it's sudden, violent. A horse falls, injures 2 spectators. And Toby's observation is so stark. The horse jumped on one man's face, followed by, I think he's dead. Just like that. Really shocks the boys, makes the danger real.
And later, they pass Rebecca Stratton after a race she didn't win.
Right, she finished unplaced. And Neil, bless him, pipes up with torpid stumblebum right at her.
Oh, Neil. That must have thrown her.
Completely. Then Lee gets called to Oliver Wells's office. Jenkins takes the boys for autographs, that odd mix of danger and normal race day stuff.
Oliver reassures him jockeys are good with kids, even though Lee's worried.
And while he's there, Roger and Oliver try again to get Lee involved, stressing how urgent things are with the family.
But then the plot takes that really sharp turn because of the boys.
Yeah, Neil. They go back to the stands, and Neil, with his sharp hearing and eye for detail, tells Lee he saw debt cord and demolition charges in the stand.
And adds same's the factory chimney. He recognizes it.
Instantly, Lee, with his building background, knows exactly what that means. Horror.
He frantically searches for Toby, yelling about explosive, finds him hiding in a sideboard, lost in some game.
Just as they move away, boom, the explosion. Described as a crump below, then brilliant flash of light, and a horrendous bang and a swaying all about us.
It's like being caught in an earthquake.
Lee gets hurt, bruises, cuts, needs clips, firemen pull him out.
And a narrow escape is terrifyingly clear when the section where Toby was hiding jost collapses right after their move.
Chillingly close. In the aftermath, Lee's in the hospital. Media is calling it a terrorist bombing.
Amanda calls, understandably frantic after seeing a newspaper report. Lee has to reassure her the boys are okay.
Roger and Mrs. Gardner look after the boys, who are shaken up, want to stay in the bus, play marooned.
And Roger's dealing with police, media, and the arriving Strattons, who are furious.
Marjorie's reaction is ice cold. Basically implies Lee deserved to get hurt, served you right. Roger finds the whole family seems unhinged.
But Lee doesn't just lie there. Despite the injuries, needing a walking frame, he starts investigating.
Driven, isn't he? Goes with Roger in the Jeep, leaves the boys washing the bus.
And then things get physical. Keith and Hannah show up.
And they actually assault him with the walking frame. Lee calls it a poorish Saturday morning that gets worse with the kicking. Unbelievable.
Ivan interrupts briefly, but it's Marjorie who stops it, orders everyone out but Lee and Roger, then dismisses Roger too.
She confronts Lee, asking if he's not very clever getting hurt like that, but then, oddly, she apologizes for how she treated his mother years ago. Even offers to release him from his agreement. Maybe a flicker of concern. Or manipulation.
Hard to tell with her. But she's hesitant about pressing charges against Keith and Hannah. Protecting the family, it seems.
Always. The next morning, another piece emerges. The burned fence at the open ditch.
Roger thinks maybe vandalism. Harold Quest.
But they find Quest's confession note in the ashes, detailing surefire firelighters being hired by someone with a specific car registration. Quest admits he was paid daily to stage protests and burn the fence. So, arson before the bombing.
This is where Lee starts connecting his own background. He asks about Conrad's architect, Wilson Yarrow.
And discovers he actually studied architecture with Yarrow years ago, 17 years prior.
He figures Yarrow, the flashing star, probably wouldn't recognize him. Notes Yarrow's arrogance, too, how he holds his head to look down his nose.
So Lee needs more info. He goes to London by train on Styx. Roger thinks he's nuts.
Meets an old-school friend, Carter, who digs out old diaries.
And Lee finds it. An entry. A rumor. That Wilson Yarrow won the big Epsilon Prize with a design pinched from someone else.
Carteret doesn't recall details, but confirms his gut feeling. Something not right about him.
Then comes a really pivotal meeting. Lee meets Perdita Faulds and her daughter, Penelope.
And Penelope looks strikingly like a young Amanda, Lee's wife. Hits him hard.
Perdita knew Lee's mother, owns shares herself, and she decides Lee needs to know the family secrets. Feels old Lord Stratton would approve.
And she spills everything. Conrad's past, potential blackmail material, Keith's history of violence, assaults, spanked the daughter of one of the farm workers, paid the father off.
Chilling. And Forsyth's recent fraud with broken lawnmowers that nearly ruined Ivan's business. Shows the rot runs deep.
And crucially, she reveals Keith had actually threatened to kill Lee before. Underlines just how dangerous Keith is.
These secrets are the keys Lee needed.
So he returns to the race course, needs confirmation, breaks into Conrad's cupboard where Yarrow's plans were, finds a photo and a tape.
Bingo. But just then, Keith catches him.
The confrontation. Lee gathers the main players. Marjorie, Conrad, Dart, Rebecca.
He plays the tape, and it's devastating. Rebecca selling info on horses she rode. The worst of racing crimes. Career-ending stuff.
Conrad has to admit, yeah, he already knew. Confronted her, she confessed. The blackmail is real.
Now Lee, using that builder's logic, his decider insights, the secrets, he lays it all out, connects the threads.
Starts with Rebecca. Desperate for new stands, desperate for control.
He suggests Yarrow, the architect, approach Conrad knowing about Rebecca's gambling, the dirt. Used it to blackmail Conrad. I have the dirt on your daughter. Save her honor. Give me the commission for the new stands.
But Lee pushes further. Suggests Rebecca, seeing a way out, or maybe just desperate, told Yarrow to bomb the stands, force the issue, guarantee the new build, guarantee Yarrow's commission.
And Yarrow, using his architect's knowledge, targeted the weakest point, that central staircase. Knew it would bring the structure down. Calculated.
Meanwhile, Keith's running his own destructive play. Lee connects Quest, the fence fire. Keith hired him.
Trying to devalue the land, force that quick sale for the cash he needed.
And Keith's earlier threat to kill Lee. Not random. It was because Lee found Quest's confession, pointing right back at Keith.
But the final piece, the bomber himself. Lee figures it out through Keith's nature.
Yeah.
Simple, brutal logic. If Keith wants to get rid of something, he burns it. Arson is his go-to, his decider for destruction. He connects the bombing to Keith's inherent violence and desperate need to force the sale.
It all leads to that terrifying final act. Keith, cornered, full of rage, tries to burn down Henry's big top, with Lee and his sons inside.
Pouring petrol, lighting it, grabs Neil in the chaos.
Lee's reaction is pure instinct, charges Keith, ready to go down with him to save his son. Ran from instinct, felt he gave up all hope of not burning, that raw parental defense.
He'll do almost insane things for your kids, as the source notes.
But then Christopher. Quick thinking.
Brilliant. Remembers Henry mentioning installing a sprinkler system? Finds the switch, turns it on.
Saves them. Douses the fire.
Keith dies in the fire he started. Neil is safe. Christopher's the hero of the moment.
And somehow, the Easter Monday race meeting actually goes ahead. Successfully.
A real testament to Roger's management, Oliver's publicity. They said people should come here. Henry's, razzmatazz, tents, flowers from Ivan pulling in a big crowd.
Henry even explains his own decider theory about entertaining crowds, and confirms the big top was fire retardant. But he put in sprinklers just in case of arson. Wise move.
Yeah, practical wisdom after all that chaos. The Stratton conflict finds its grim resolution.
Lee turns down Marjorie's offer to join the board. He's had enough.
Wisely. He gives them solid advice, though. Keep Roger and Oliver. For the stands, run a proper competition. Vet the firms.
And the power dynamic is shifted, hasn't it? Keith's gone. Rebecca's ambition is checked by the blackmail material Conrad and Dart now hold. They can outvote her.
Exactly. The immediate crisis is resolved.
But Lee's personal future? That's left hanging, isn't it?
Very deliberately. He goes home, finds Amanda's met someone else. Her words, "You always know too damn much. Just hang there."
And meeting Penelope, who looked like young Amanda. That left him feeling empty and old.
Yeah. He looks at the bus, his home, his kids. Returns the tape and photo to Conrad, leaving him to deal with the messy aftermath, his feelings about his twin.
The final image is Lee by the oak tree outside his house reflecting before Amanda comes out. What happens next with them? Completely uncertain.
So wrapping up this deep dive, you really see how a fight over a racecourse blows open this whole hidden world of family dysfunction, crime, secrets.
It's fascinating how the sources show these complex, sometimes irrational motives. Keith's destructive desperation for money, Rebecca's raw ambition, Yoro's professional greed.
All bubbling under the surface of this, respectable world of horse racing, power struggles, old secrets, basic human needs clashing.
And Lee Morris, the builder architect, sort of navigates it all using that unique understanding of the deciders. What really makes people tick, protecting his family, solving the immediate crisis.
He uses that insight into what appeals, what motivates, to save the day, in a way.
So what really stands out to you from all this? How do those different deciders, a bit of trellis, a need for control, maybe just a destructive impulse shape everything?
Well, it leaves you thinking, doesn't it? When people are faced with conflict, with opportunity, what really drives their actions? Is it the logical goals they state? Or is it those deeper hidden deciders, those fears, desires, past hurts that truly shape their choices?